First off, when I'm seeing this, it's like, who's this serpent? And when you think about how women have been manipulated by certain people who whether it's the Democrats and the liberals trying to manipulate women into saying, hey, you don't need a man, you don't need the government coming in and being your new man. So now instead of going 50 and 50 with a man, now you'll go 50-50 with the government.
Oh my God.
Let me make sure you guys are saying it. All right. And yeah, let's just press play.
Adam and Eve, a story of choice and grace. Today we embark on a very special journey, a story that is not just about the beginning of humanity but about love, freedom, and responsibility. The story of Adam and Eve is not just an ancient tale. It is a mirror reflecting our own choices and struggles today. In the beginning, God created Adam, shaping him from dust and breathing into him the breath of life. Seeing that it was not good for man to be alone, he formed Eve from Adam's rib to be his perfect companion. Together they lived in the Garden of Eden, a paradise where they walked in harmony with God, free to enjoy everything, except for one thing, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. God commanded them, "You may eat from any tree but not this one, or you will surely die." This was not just a rule but a test of love, trust, and free will. One day the serpent, cunning and deceitful, approached Eve and whispered,
"Did God really say you must not eat from any tree in the garden?"
Eve replied,
"We may eat from any tree except this one, or we will die."
Overcome by the desire for power and wisdom, Eve took the fruit, ate it, and gave some to Adam.
Yo, I just wanted to stop it so many times just right there. Are we realizing, hold on. First off, when I'm seeing this, it's like, who's this serpent? And when you think about how women have been manipulated by certain people who whether it's the Democrats and the liberals trying to manipulate women into saying, hey, you don't need a man, you don't need the government coming in and being your new man. So now instead of going 50 with a man, now you'll go 50-50 with the government. The government has control over you. That's your new man.
Welfare.
And it's, you know what I mean? And it's convincing you. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's a word for that, welfare.
Welfare. That's exactly what it is. Yeah. It's like welfare becomes your new man. And what is it? And what did it say that was the reason why she wanted to eat the fruit? She couldn't overcome. She was overcome by the desire for power and wisdom. That is exactly what certain powers that be have done. They've convinced women like, hold up, why don't you have a lot of power? Why can't you be the protector? Why can't you be the provider? And that is intoxicating for women. The same way we talked about how everybody wants to be the artist rather than the executive producer. It's like, ladies, y'all are the mothers. Y'all have amazing positions that y'all are. Y'all are the wives. These are amazing positions that you can play. The man plays his position. But it's like that grass being greener on the other side where it's like, oh, nah, I want what they got. I want all the privilege that I have. I want all the power that I have in my place, but I also want the privilege and power that they have in their role. First and foremost, want to give a huge shout out to everybody that continues to tap in with us, like and subscribe and join our community. If you haven't already, please make sure that you do. We look forward to engaging in some dope convo with you that can help us all elevate. So like, subscribe, and maybe even share the video if you're feeling real generous. On that note, we'll let you get back to the video. See you soon. Ew. And that's, in my opinion, how women have been finessed.
I call that Ellen DeGenerate syndrome. For real, I call that Ellen DeGenerate syndrome, because I know some guys that, just like you were talking about last Friday at 10 o'clock, they used to watch Ellen DeGenerate. And I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, wasn't we just going to play ball? You know what I'm saying? You talking about you about to go do what? Watch Ellen DeGenerate? For real? But
it really is.
Society that we live in today, men have that. Fred Sanford used to be like, yeah, he got that. It's not so much about they've gayed down societies in such a way that men don't have a masculine sense in reasoning anymore. Most men think it's not masculine to wash dishes. Nigga, you just ate all that food. Wash that pot.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
At the same time, you can't expect a girl, like, let's say you got an 8-year-old daughter and a 9-year-old son. If you got that type of split between kids, it would be good to say she got to cut the grass the same way he got to cut the grass. But today, oh no, you got people going to goddamn Publix and restaurants in their pajamas, and they think it's cool. How? This is the same clothes that you just slept in. You got straight up out your house and went and got food. Some of them is on the bus.
Yeah.
What the hell is going on in society? I mean, really, you know what I'm saying? But to add to the Adam and Eve thing, dude, look, the way that I've always felt this story myself is that from the very first time I heard this story, I had a question. Where'd the little snake come from, and how come she could talk to snakes? Now, when I was going to church coming up, this is probably 1973, 1974. We used to go to a church, and it was mandatory for me to do Sunday school. So one day I got my hand up and I asked the dude, I was like, well, I just went to the, Smithsonian Museum, and we saw dinosaurs. But yet and still, in 1974, they were saying that life didn't exist before Christ. You know what I'm saying? So even religion gets caught up in the bullshit of time. And what we've got right now between men and women is the bullshit of time. Because most women, it's nothing wrong with a woman being the CEO, CFO of a company. That's a beautiful thing. But you have more women and more men deciding that sexuality and the game of sex is the way that they can best get there. And that takes on a whole new meaning to what's fair between you and I. You know what I'm saying? But
it's a certain type of women. It's a certain and what I'm noticing is that, like, certain women, when I like the ones that I would trust to lead in a particular role, those are the ones, honestly, that are not tripping off being a leader. Like, it's the same thing with policing in a lot of ways. Like, the cops that want to be cops, in my opinion, a lot of the people that I see that aren't cops and don't want to be cops, they would be great cops. And I'm using it. Let me get back to the actual point. But the women that I see that get overcome with their lust for power, and in my opinion, it still falls on the man in some ways, because it's the snake, the serpent. Usually it's a man that is leveraging something, the woman's perceived lack in a particular area, and comes and says, oh, you should have this, you should have that. That guy's not giving you that. You don't feel like you have that. And it's manipulating that woman to now she's using whatever and whenever. There's no rules, there's no boundaries of what I will use to get this power. And that's what I'm seeing happening in this story of Adam and Eve. There was no following the rules. There was no appreciating the fact that we're in this amazing garden with all these amazing fruits, all these things. But there's one tree that God said, hey, just leave that one alone. And that's the one tree that, because you have this fear of missing out, because you are so intoxicated with having what everybody else has, now you have to eat from that tree and compromise not only your life, not only your well-being, but Adam's well-being. And shame on Adam because Adam then took a bite out of it as well, being now led by a woman who we know can use her amazing gifts that she has to influence a man in a particular way. Now, We got to be stronger. This generation, and let me touch on what Professor King said, because fellas got to be stronger. There's just too many weak men out here that are so emotional and just emasculated, in my opinion. But let me read this and you tell me what you think. So Professor said, why things are worse. Matthew 12, 43 to 45. When an evil spirit comes out of a man, it goes through arid places seeking rest and does not find it. Then it says, I will return to the house that I left. So let me read that again to myself. When an evil spirit comes out of a man, it goes through arid places seeking rest and does not find it. Then it says, I will return to the house that I left. And all right, now let me read the second one. When it arrives, it finds the house unoccupied, swept clean and put in order. Then it goes and takes with it 7 other spirits more wicked than itself, and they go in and live there. When it arrives, it finds the house swept clean and put in order. Then it goes and takes the 7 other spirits more wicked than itself. All right, so I got to really break this one down. Oh, I don't know. I got to think about this one a little bit. I think I understand the message here. And let me see. Professor wrote, and the final condition of that man is worse than the first. That is how it will be with this wicked generation. So I do definitely understand. I think I comprehend that. Things are only going to get worse if we don't address these things now. We keep allowing certain things to just, oh, no, we're cool with that. We're cool with this. We're cool with that. And all it does is invite, it's a snowball effect, in my opinion.
This is why I keep saying that people need to educate themselves, because when I use the word education, I don't necessarily mean one general idea of, well, you need to know math. No, you need to know everything. As a person, you should be literate on every subject. You should, if a Chinese person in Chinatown calls you nigger, you should at least be able to say, oh, not me. You know what I'm saying? For real. That's the way I look at it. Now, I know everybody don't look at it that way, but I take a lot of pride in knowledge. Every day, a man should learn something. From the cradle to the grave, you learn. When you were born, you didn't know what that felt like. When you die, you won't know what that feels like. Those are 2 things that God kept from you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. When you start to think about life and death, you may go through the suffering of a gunshot wound before you pass away, but that blink, you don't know what that felt like. The same blink when you was born, you don't know what that felt like. And all of these are just some of the mysteries that God kept to himself. The veil, according to Islamic tradition, that's in front of man. But humans, we don't look at, we progress generationally, and we digress generationally, because I often tell people 10,000 years ago, man was smarter than they were today. We built the pyramids 15, 20,000 years ago. We can't figure out how they did that today. How?
Yeah. No, that's a fact. That's a fact. And IROC wrote, men and women should be a team, both equally valued for their masculine and feminine or feminine qualities, grow together. And see, this is the thing. And tell me where I'm wrong, if I'm wrong. Men don't like it. It's 2 different teams, or it's 2 different people coming together for a particular team, two roles. If the person in one role is not jealous of the other person in the other role, but meanwhile, the person in one role wants what the other role, let me forget all the analogies. Men are not out here trying to give birth. Men are not out here trying to be women. And actually, let me kind of rephrase that. Maybe that's where things are going. But before this, in my opinion, it was women wanting the things that man wanted, or that man was responsible for. It's like all these things, I guess men make it look good, men make it look, and I get it. You know, it's maybe it's the things that men are responsible for that are more exciting that the women look at it for. But men are not out here trying to take the roles of women. Women are out here like men. We know we can't do this by ourselves. We're not out here trying to IVF by ourselves and have kids and talk about women ain't, I can do bad all by myself. That's not a man. I don't hear too many men saying that. Now, maybe that's just the men that I'm around, or maybe that's just my little bubble. I don't know. I don't see that. But it's the women that are so finessed and manipulated. And it's happened with a lot of the movements. You saw the civil rights movement. It got finessed. The reason why that stopped is because women got convinced to just focus on the women's movement. All these different areas that we see, it's like, why don't you just play your position, play your role? But instead, we're the coach. It's like the coach that's trying to convince the 350-pound, 6'5" lineman that you could play wide receiver. Okay, now that you convinced that, now the wide receiver, now they're going to have to play lineman maybe. So now when the wide receiver is playing lineman and he's 5'10", 180 pounds trying to block a defensive end or a D tackle who's 350 pounds, what does that end up doing? Now that hurts the entire team. Now you just hurt the quarterback. You just got the running back killed. Just because the coach wanted everything to be fair. Hey, everybody can play every position. No, there's certain roles for a reason. There's certain things that people are better equipped at. And a lot of this stuff only happens in privileged situations, a privileged society. When your team is so good that they're up 50, they're up 30, they're up 40, yeah, they can play around a little bit. They can have the big tackle go out and catch a pass. But when it's crunch time and you haven't afforded your team those things, you need to put everybody in the best position to win for the team. And then once you become privileged enough because you're winning enough and you're successful enough, then maybe you can start putting, other players in different positions. But even as I'm saying this, that's the damn problem. America's become so damn great to everybody that people become entitled and people feel that we deserve certain things and the government should be doing this and this should be doing it and everything should be fair. When in all reality, the only reason why we think that is because we live in such a privileged society. Just my opinion though.
This is very true. This is very true. But and see, let me throw a piece of KRS-One. KRS-One put it best when he said that he witnessed his homeboy making money selling drugs. He got his brother involved. Next thing you know, they were eating steak, not beans and franks. His sister got cleaned up. These are all parts of that illusion that we see. And that illusion is fast money. Fast money will destroy things faster than the hands that it run through. But most people are not taught that. You know what I'm saying? Most people, this is why you're successful and I'm sitting where I'm sitting. Half the people we know that didn't go that route are not. I'm sure in between our ages, we probably know at least 5 or 6 people that we both went to school with that's doing life or ain't nowhere around anymore because of the life that they chose. These are parts of life that we grow accustomed to, but we're not taught these things. Because I tell people this all the time. There's no public assistance for gangsters. Yeah, there's no such thing as a retirement plan for a robber. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And people that go in and out of prison, you might as well have become a fucking prison guard. You're gonna spend 20 years doing it. At least he gonna get a watch when his 20 years is up. You know
I agree. I agree.
You can't reason common sense to most people when it comes down to it. The only way people fall out of that illusion is when they either hit the bottom or they hit the top. In between, most people, they can't pay attention to that. They got to live their 40-hour work week, whether it's clocking dope, washing cars, or taking care of patients. It don't matter. And that's the spectrum. you can go from the bottom of the spectrum to the top of the spectrum, and it's all the same. Your 40-hour work week consumes all of your time, and most people, they don't have that opportunity to sit back and think about the next 4 years. Keep in mind, a lot of people don't understand when the country was being formed, the founding fathers said they had a 500-year plan. They didn't say, oh, we're going to do this for 50 years or just until it works. No, it was a 500-year plan. You know what I'm saying? We get taught that in history books, but once again, we shoot right by that. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm sure everybody that heard that is like, oh yeah, they did say that. But you don't really stop to think about it. It's like the apple. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure when Eve brought the apple to Adam, Adam was probably like, well, what is that? And Eve might not have told him what it was. She might have been like, here, eat a little of this, and kissed him with some. So we never know how bad me and you been screwed by women prior to this.
No, it's
Oh man.
it's I'm thinking as you're saying that, I'm looking at the comment that iRock wrote, right? And even when you say, I want to make sure, because I go back and forth on whether it's women that are screwing us or if it's man's lack of leadership. Ew, it's Dak. Just want to thank you for checking out our video and visiting the OG Network. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure that you give us a like. And if you're looking to join a community of inspired individuals striving for purposeful abundance, subscribe. And if you're feeling real generous, share the video with some friends and family. All right, I'll see y'all soon. Ew.